This news update is brought to you by
Grab somebody and tell them hello. Your happiness will be connect to flow. Smile and cheer because that is we flow. Grab somebody and tell them hello. With your hands in the air, hands in the air, hands in the air, hands in the air. This is how we flow, yeah. Grab somebody and tell them this is how we flow.
It's Friday, September 4, and time for the Barbados Today afternoon update. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Thanks for joining us. Private security firms in Barbados are being told to better secure their properties. The advice from the chairman of the Barbados chapter of the Caribbean Association of Security Professionals, Oral Reed, as police continue to question a suspect in connection with the robbery of the A&C Security Services Limited late Tuesday, where 4 guns and several rounds of ammunition were stolen. Reed, who is also a retired senior police officer, also called on Barbadians to share information with the police, even as he gave the assurance that the force can deal with the situation effectively.
I have confidence in the members of the Royal Barbados Police Force to manage these situations. It is not the first time that we have had incidents involving the use of firearms in Barbados, and the police agency has been able to identify perpetrators and to bring those persons to justice. But I think the key element here is the support that they can receive from members of the community, who by now should recognize the dangers associated with firearms being in the hands of untrained persons.
Meantime, police continue investigations into the country's latest murder. The body of 60-year-old Melanise Eversley, the sister of Acting Police Commissioner Livingston Eversley, was found in a bushy area in Jordan, St. George, yesterday around 12:15 by fire officials. An advocate for domestic violence says it's time for the empty and broken promises by authorities to end. Addressing yesterday's ceremony to mark the 5th anniversary of the Campus Strengths tragedy, Liesl Daisley, who is the founder of the Service Alliance for Violent Encounters, questioned the delay by relevant authorities to rectify the one-door stores in the city. She made it clear that it was unfair for vulnerable people to continue working under unsafe and unlawful conditions.
What has been done? Can anybody tell me? What has been done apart from talking about it? It is time that we do something about it. We need to put pressure on the people that will pass the laws and that will make change. It is not right, it is not fair to these young, vulnerable women who are working hard for their future and for the future of their loved ones. So my heart is heavy today because in Barbados, all we seem to do is talk. And I am tired, and I am sick and tired, not just tired, sick and tired of all the empty promises, all the broken promises that we have been given. It is time for action.
Expressing concern on the violence taking place in the country, Daisley also called on parents to lay the foundation which will result in wholesome children.
The onus is on the parents because the children, they spend the majority of their time with you. So I appeal to Barbadians to not look to government to solve the problem for us, not look to the police force to solve the problem of violence for us. But I ask us today to let's look within, because it will take the effort of everyone to solve this problem.
President of the Guild of Students at the University of the West Indies Cavell campus says tuition cost remains a major concern for members. Speaking to Barbados today on the issue, Delano de Souza said although the topic is no longer a hot button issue at the moment, it continues to impact on the student population.
I think this year we're not maybe hearing as much grumbling or as much commentary about it this year as maybe we did last year. But I think the effect is there. We can see from the reduction in enrollment. I think a lot of it is that the students, would-be students, prospective students, are no longer attending the university, hence the fall off in numbers. They're grumbling silently, but I think a lot of them have resolved themselves that this year they're probably waiting another year or two, or probably taking a year off before coming back or before embarking on the task of a university education. And that, of course, is a concern for us because, education is one clear way to upward mobility and social mobility in this life. And it's something that we always encourage in terms of upliftment of our population. So it remains a concern for the Guild of Students.
This year marks 2 years since the government introduced the fees for those wishing to further tertiary education at the UWI. The head of the Barbados-based Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency says relief officials are doing all they can to help the Dominica education system back on track. In an update to Barbados today on the recovery and rescue efforts in the country, which is trying to return to some sense of normalcy following the devastation caused by Tropical Storm Erika, CDMA's Executive Director Ronald Jackson said getting students back in the classroom is one of the top priorities.
Schools are reopening. We're looking now at those families who would have lost some of the school supplies, shoes, books and so forth, to see if we can ensure that those children can go back out to school fairly well equipped. So I think that's where the needs lie most now. There are rebuilding requirements that are going to be coming up shortly. As I said before, transitional housing for those who are displaced, and which would need to look at a strategy for moving them from out of the shelter, because we also want to have the schools ready and available for the start of the school term. But moving them out of the shelter into a transitional housing solution until we're able to get them into a final housing solution at some point.
And before we go to break, this bulletin from the police: Winston St. Clair Ward, Elias Farley of School Lane, St. Michael, is being asked to appear at the juvenile court in Robert Street for 9 a.m. on the 9th of September.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Secure your future, be financially strong. Since 1983, we have been there for you. A smart range of products, great tax benefits. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. Humble beginnings to smart loans, smart savings. Save smart and borrow smarter. That's the move for me. Stability, prosperity. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union.
We pick up with news from our regional neighbors and we head to Guyana, where President David Granger is denying opposition charges that he's purging the public sector. More in this Capital News report.
Opposition leader Barry Jagdeo said while President David Granger is advocating for inclusion, his government's action is exclusionary, as he cited the dismissal of several contract workers and political appointees within the public service system. According to President Granger, there is no witch hunting by his administration, and there are good explanations for the termination of some of those contracts.
It has not been a purge, there's been no witch hunting. We've had cases in which funds have disappeared, we have had cases of malpractice, and those cases have been brought to the cabinet. So there's been no witch hunting, but we intend to pursue a transparent and efficient economy. In my first week in office, I mentioned that we needed an efficient public service. Some persons who were not prepared to participate in our program have left the service. We'll be launching a public service staff college. We want to make sure all public servants are trained. And I told them public servants must be unbribable. We want an honest and efficient public service. They're going to be better paid, they'll be better educated, and they will be respected. That's what we're aiming at. We are not carrying out any purge.
On the international scene, nearly 1,000 people in Sierra Leone have been put under quarantine following the death of a 67-year-old woman who tested positive for Ebola. It comes 5 days into a 6-week countdown for the country to be officially declared Ebola-free. The quarantine will last for 3 weeks, provided no new cases are recorded. Health officials say the situation is worrying.
The situation is quite difficult. In a moment, as MSF, we only have a capacity to work in the case management center. Last week, we came to a village where we had around 40 patients from one village. It's unbelievable. I never have seen it before.
The time is going, and every time you have more people contaminated, and then one people can contaminate many. Then you could have a really increase in the numbers. If you take too long, you'll be more spread and more difficult to control.
And that's news. For the latest, log on to www.barbadostoday.bb. Subscribe to our e-paper, our email updates, and you can like us on Facebook. You can also catch us on Izumi Media in bus terminals or screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you, as well as Channel 101 on Flow TV and Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Good afternoon.